Board of Adjustment. Roll call, please.
Yes, members of the Board of Adjustment are Randy Goodman
Present.
and Mr. Cooper Robinson.
Here.
First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the previous meeting of November the 2nd, 23. I've read over them and it looks accurate to me. Entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Seconded.
Mr. Goodman
Yes.
and Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
First item on the agenda for action is discussion and possible action for approval, denial of variance to the Oklahoma County zoning regulations on the application of Adam and Summer Coleman. Are you present, Mr. Coleman?
Just to give a little bit of background before he comes and speaks on his particular item here, what we're here today for is the particular property is in an R2 rural residential zoning district. So that means you have to have a minimum of 2 acres to build a structure on the property. And so in this particular case, there's nothing that's been built on the property as of yet. He's going through this process to get relief to build a house and a shop on the property.
So, because of the zoning right now, it requires 2-acre lots to build a residence, and this is 1.77.
That's correct. And so that's what he's here to, that's why he's on the agenda today to discuss that with you.
Do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
How are you doing?
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Coleman.
Like he described, I would just like approval before moving forward with the building process to make sure. I know my neighbor did it last year to get his, but he had previously had a mobile home on the property. So I just wanted to make sure I was
On this specific piece of property?
on the property next door.
Okay. All
So-
right. I noticed that it's the plan is that it's built closer to the road than the others. I guess there's not a set-off requirement from the road at all.
There is, it's a 100-foot setback from the middle of Southeast 15th in this case.
Okay.
But these 2 structures that you see here are just representations. He'll have to get a building permit for each structure, and so when he submits that paperwork to us, we'll review to make sure that he's in compliance with
Okay.
those.
Good enough. Okay, anything else, sir?
Is that the new construction, is recent construction, is that the property to the east?
Yes, sir. They did have a mobile home on that site, and of course they were grandfathered in on the previous, and then they moved in a new home on that site.
Looks like a business.
I'm not really sure what's going on. I do know the up front is logs, so I don't know if they're selling firewood at the moment. But it is a home, a residence.
There are a lot of vehicles on that property.
Yes, sir.
It looks kind of busy, doesn't it?
Looks real busy, yeah.
Has there been any objections filed by anyone? Does the city have any objections?
No one's contacted us about the particular, well, let me take that back. There was one person that contacted us by phone, but it was just general questions. We haven't received any formal protest letters in the mail. I don't know if any of these folks that are here to speak against this item or not.
Is there anybody in the audience on this matter at all? Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
Move approval.
I second.
Mr. Goodman,
Aye.
Mr. Robinson,
Good luck to you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Coleman. Second item is listed as item number 6, discussion and possible action of approval, denial of variance to the Oklahoma County zoning regulations on the application of Raul and Norma Ignacio. You present?
So just to give a little bit background information for everybody, this particular piece of property does have a variance that currently exists on the property. I think it was put in place before Mr. and Mrs. Ignacio was there on the property. The previous property owner brought this property to the Board of Adjustment before it was sold to them because of the lot size. From my understanding, this particular lot is about 1.5, maybe 1.25 acres in size. And so there was a variance that was applied for by the previous property owner so that whomever he sold it to could place a home on the property. Obviously, you see the home here, and what we're here today for is one of the county inspectors was out doing inspections, came across Mr. Ignacio constructing the outbuilding that you see on the south side of the property there. He had notified him and put a stop work order on the construction that was going on to let him know that the building was too close to the property line. From my understanding, just going back through our information that we have here as far as aerials and what Mr. Ignacio had stated, was there was a building that was there previously, similar in size to the property that you see to the south in that small outbuilding that they have there. So from my understanding, he tore down the building that was there and proceeded with construction without a permit with the building that you see there on the current aerial. So he's here today to get relief from the 25-foot requirement for the building that's currently under construction. He'll also have to get a building permit as he moves forward with whatever decision is made today. But that's just some additional background on the particular piece of property.
Good, thank you. Mr. Ignacio,
How you doing?
yes, sir.
All right, well, we just need to get the approval. I mean, if possible. I mean, my neighbors are here. I mean, I've talked to them. They don't have no issue whatsoever. It's not really 4 feet from the property line. We have a fence. And it's I measured it and it measured out to be 12 foot from their property line.
From the.
From what
the
we
prop-
think it is.
Okay.
Right.
Was there a fence there?
Yes.
So we're just going by the drawing that he had given us at the time. So if they went out there and measured that off, obviously they're going to be more in the know than we are. We're basing our drawing off the initial information that we received from him.
And there's a building right to that's the south, I think, already that's there too in the adjacent lot next to you.
Yes. This is my
Okay.
name.
Is that your lot, sir? Do you have any objection? Okay. You have any question?
Is it to the south or to the north? To the south, okay. I have no question.
Okay. Anything other from the county?
I just wanted to state one other thing. I know there was a property owner out there in the area that had contacted me by phone, so I don't know if there's, okay. So she may want to speak against the application. At least that's what I got from the conversation that we had on the phone.
Okay. Ma'am, would you like to address the board?
Yes, hi, thank you.
Uh-huh.
My name is Shelley Dobson. I own the 2 properties to the north. I have tenants in both of these properties. My concern is the 25-foot setback was originally either my understanding and talking with Eric over many things that have come up on the county level, as this was for fire abatement. It was a 25-foot setback. We don't have fire hydrants out there. We rely on a fire district that is mostly funded with volunteer firefighters. This is to give a barrier that if there was a fire, that equipment, pumper trucks, could get to possibly even the back part of the properties. Also, the 25-foot setback from property lines is also potentially for future economic development, could be an easement. The gentleman to the back, or to the east, that runs the length north and south, is unimproved rural property. There's a lot of cedar trees, there's a lot of brush. Once, if hopefully never, a fire would get started, it will be pertinent to have access from Luther Road here to get back there to fight that fire, because his acreage goes back almost a whole section to the east. So the only access back to fight a potential fire, if that would happen, would be off of Luther Road through our various residents, and a 25-foot setback with access back to that area either by fence line or driveways. I'm just concerned that if the county starts allowing these structures to encroach into this 25-foot setback from property lines, we open Pandora's box and we allow future potential variances. Before we know it, everybody's up against the property line. The unique situation out there is that Luther is developing. Maybe someday we have rural water. I don't see that anywhere in the works right now, but the Kickapoo brings various things. But right now, we don't have any fire hydrants. My concern is for fire control. I have tenants in the two homes to the north. Tenant safety is my utmost importance, and I have my tenants mow my properties very prestigiously because I do not want, I would be horrified if a firefighter's life was sacrificed because I didn't take care of my property and didn't take proper abatement myself for fire control. My structures are within this, and the thing that makes me a little dismayed is it seems like through the years of variances, people come here to ask for forgiveness, not permission. I knew about the 25-foot setback. I have a building in the back of the second property to the north, and I measured it off. I don't know why, being in Oklahoma County, people don't research this a little bit more and come and ask for some guidance from the board or from the zoning before they start construction. And they seem to come and ask for forgiveness. I understand he's building a building. He could build it somewhere else, maybe build it in the front yard. So there is no question here about a 25-foot setback encroachment,
The building's already constructed, correct?
partially,
Partially.
I believe, right?
And my understanding is you say you have two rental properties
To the north,
to the
yeah.
north.
12400 and 12450.
So it's not the,
It's not on my side.
yeah,
My concern is once we, it almost sets a standard. If you allow encroachments, then who's to say my neighbor to the north of me on the other side of my rental property puts a building up against the side of my rental property on the north, and here we go. And they say, well, you approved it for him. How about me? Where's the standard in keeping the standard and maintaining it? Because it was for fire abatement for our firefighters.
no, I understand. I think the entire purpose of the variance, is to judge it on a case-by-case basis. And that's why you have the ability to request a variance is to prevent undue hardship and try to take all the factors in on weighing what's in the best interest of all parties concerned. So I appreciate very much your time and appreciate your
Sure, no, I
concern.
appreciate you listening, and, the firefighters work hard out in our area. I'm very familiar. From Wellston, and I support our firefighters there. I pay a fire tax to the Hickory Fire Department, and I think I have a right to, thank you for your time and listening to me to support our firefighters.
Thank you very much. You have any questions?
We have,
Can I say something? Just a couple of things on her points, very valid, by the way.
can you step closer to the microphone?
Directly to the south of my property is the access to the open space that she's talking about. There is a dedicated access to that whole area. And we did check on that. Rose did come to me and ask, since I'm right up against that property line, he asked for my assistance in researching the zoning regulations, which I did. The only setback documented in the regulations is for above ground flammable liquid storage. That's the only setback mentioned. There is a 25-foot yard, whatever that means, which he does have on each side of the house. But as far as setbacks go, which I understand to be from a property line, that was my interpretation. The only thing mentioned for that zoning, what's it called, rural residential, I forget the exact name. The only setback mentioned is for above ground liquid flammable storage. That's the only setback mentioned in there. So we did research it. It's not that we didn't research it, we did.
That's your structure to the south.
Yes, the property there to the south is mine, and if this were to go just slightly lower, there's an access road between my property and the adjacent property to the south.
Is that structure there within the setback?
It is, actually, we're about the same. Mine, I think, is 10 feet, something like that.
Is there a variance for that?
No, like I said, I looked up the same regulations and consulted with him to make sure that we didn't have any issues with each other.
But there was a structure there prior,
On his side.
on
there
his
was.
side.
Yes, there was. There was one that's about, what was it, 8x10, 8x12, something like that? Bigger, I don't remember the exact size, but yes. And in fact, it was closer to the fence line than he is now. It was almost touching the fence.
Okay. Anything further? Anything?
That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any
Mhm.
response from staff? Any?
I just wanted to go over just so everybody's clear on where this information is located at. As part of your guys' folder there, you have our current regulations. If you look at the table of contents there, it has everything broken up, but if you look at the bottom of the table of contents on the first page towards the bottom left-hand corner, it directs you to R2 Rural Residential District. On page 10 is where that information starts. So if you turn to page 10 in this particular case, you'll notice on the right-hand side of the page, there's a table for dimensional standards for this particular district. So in this particular case, obviously, all these properties are zoned R2. And I will say these properties along Luther Road are kind of a unique situation. I think somebody far in the past kind of chopped these up to some degree for 1 acre, a little bit greater 1 acre lots. So there is a difference there on some of these. But if you continue down that table there, you'll notice the side yard and the rear yard setback is towards the bottom, and it states it at 25 feet. And then on the front yard, which in this particular case are along Luther Road, which is a section line road, the setback from the middle of the road itself is 100 feet. So I just wanted to point that out for everybody that it is there. We try to make these regulations when we're authoring them to be as simple as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? I don't need to hear anything further, do you?
No.
Entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
I second.
Mr. Goodman
Aye.
and Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Yeah, move on to item number 7, new business. Do you have any new business for us?
No, sir.
If is none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Goodman?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. In November? Yeah. Really? Yeah.